we have to look further ahead than just the now. Because you know what, if we don't plan past today, what are we going to accomplish tomorrow? What do you think? Nothing. Really, you're going to get the same result as you plan for. And so, what's that definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. You know, going to the same job every day and expecting that, you know, maybe one day it'll change, get better. Getting up at the same time every day and expecting, you know, maybe one day things will improve. Doing the same routine every day and thinking that tomorrow will be different. That's only going to come with some kind of planning. So planning is important. A lot of people think that we should live day to day. We'll address that in a minute. But let's look at Proverbs chapter 6 for a moment. And verse 6 says, "Go to the ant, thou sluggard, and consider her ways and be wise." Hey, what is the sluggard? Nathan, what is the sluggard?
Baseball can be like a...
Somebody that can hit a ball really hard as a baseball would be a sluggard. Yeah, that's one definition. In this particular case, a sluggard is somebody that is lazy, right? Doesn't do anything. Just kind of lies around. You know, sometimes I feel like being a sluggard. Sometimes I just want to rest. And I think that's okay. That's natural for a lot of us to need that, to recharge and rejuvenate the body. But you know, like most of you guys, I do stuff. You know, you guys go to school or you go to work, and so do I. And so to want a day of rest is okay. But a sluggard is somebody who really just doesn't do anything at all, any day, any time. And so Proverbs says, well, look at the ant. It says, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provideth her meat in the summer and gathereth her food in the harvest. How long will thy sleep, O sluggard? When wilt thou arise out of thy sleep? Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall thy poverty come as one that travaileth, and thy want as an armed man. And in fact, being a sluggard just invites poverty. And so, in Proverbs here, we're saying, well, look at the ant. Some people that, you know, they don't plan ahead. They require somebody to do that for them. You know, they need a boss. They need a parent. Or they need, you know, a governor. It says the ant has no guide or overseer or ruler, but on her own has the initiative to go and do things. Just takes the initiative, gets up, and is all ready. When the season comes, the ant is prepared. You know, doesn't starve through the winter, isn't famished, doesn't live in poverty, because the ant makes an effort. And we've all seen how busy ants can be. Right? They are busybodies. So if we don't bring that self-discipline into our life, or let's put it another way, if we do bring that self-discipline into our life, we can be productive. We can get results. And we should plan a little bit of everything into our life. And we should plan times to witness to this gospel. Plan times to study this Bible. We should plan time for work. We should plan time for rest. Plan time to be with our family. You know, there's people who don't plan well and all they do is work. And then they have no family time. You know, sometimes in the past I would be guilty of that. And I'd have to go, you know what, I've got to change my life. I have to change it. And how do I do that? I better make a plan. It's funny when you write something down in the daytime with a date on it and you say, on that date, I'm going to see my mom and my dad. And what happens is that date rolls around and boom, you're there. But if you don't plan that, it may not happen. Remember Joseph? Remember the Pharaoh had the dream? And there was 7 years of plenty and the 7 years of leanness. And Joseph interpreted the dream for Pharaoh. And what Joseph recommended was that the Pharaoh would take a discreet and wise person and set him over the land of Egypt with responsibility. And why was Joseph recommending this? He knew a famine was going to come. He knew there was going to be 7 good years. But after those 7 good years would be 7 bad years of starvation. And so Joseph said to Pharaoh, give somebody charge and responsibility over this. So they could do what? So they could set aside grain every year. 20% could be brought in from the population and stored in barns. So that at the end of the 7 years of plenty, there would be a storage for the years of poverty. That's planning. That's all that is. It's very simple. And Pharaoh was so pleased with Joseph in his counsel and his wisdom from God that he appointed him as in charge over Egypt, over the whole land. A man from prison. A man with an erroneous past. But because of God's wisdom in him, he gave him this. And so that's what they did. They stored up all this food over the 7 years of plenty. 20% extra a year. Or 1/5. And you remember all the land, all the countries around Egypt, they were starving. They all came to Egypt. Joseph's own brothers came looking for food. Traveled a great distance. Why? They didn't have a plan. They put themselves at risk. They put themselves in a position where Joseph could have laid hands on them and cast them into prison. They had no plan. They were in poverty. They were in great need. But Joseph wasn't. Joseph had everything he needed. Joseph took all the right steps. And that's what we need to do in our lives. Is we need to take a longer term vision of what we're doing. And we need to make sure that all our needs are met. Spiritually, family-wise, job-wise, and so on, through our life, so that we can live in a godly fashion and in a good witness to others.